Now, as part of our week-long interview series seeking perspectives from various experts across the globe, today we take a step into whether Japan's latest string of tightening export controls in South Korea and security and economic implications from the escalating Seoul-Tokyo dispute. Joining us live from Washington, D.C. is Patrick Cronin, Asia-Pacific Security Chair at the Hudson Institute. He was formerly VP at the CSIS. Pat, thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
Now, you've publicly discussed extensively on the ongoing Japan-South Korea trade spat. In your view, are the latest actions taken by Japan serving that country's overall interests? I mean, can we also say that the move is purely non-political?
I don't think any policy is purely non-political, and that's especially true in a democracy. I think President Moon is right that this is a game with no winners. At the same time, the incentives politically for both President Moon and for Prime Minister Abe is to talk tough to their constituencies and to their countries. So it's very important for us to understand this isn't just something new that just happened, but the result of cumulative disputes. There's actually a history to the history of historical grievance handling on both sides between Japan and Korea. And I think this trade export issue has been caught up in some of that. And now it's potentially going to spill over more into the security realm as well as the trade realm.
Right. Security realm, I want to get to that in a little bit, but this tit-for-tat retaliation between the two, what are some economic ramifications on the two economies, especially in key industries? Obviously, semiconductors in South Korea, but which industry in Japan will feel the blow the hardest?
Well, first, you've got to look at the macro picture. There's already a dispute about the trading system between the first and second largest economy in the world, between China and the United States. And they are trying to vie for the future rules of that global trading system. Now you add to this the third and 12th largest economy in Japan and South Korea, and you have to worry that this play within a play is going to further exacerbate global trade. So global trade will slow, global growth will slow, and then you're going to have, as you suggest, some specific sectors, particularly in the high technology areas that are running the digital economy of the 21st century. And then finally, there's also the opportunity cost of what Japan, Korea, and the United States may not be doing together that they would be if there were more cooperation. So rather than any specific sector, as in the semiconductors and computer industry, which is an obvious area given the specific chemicals that are being restricted, or forced to go through a new process, this means really a larger hit on the economy of Japan and South Korea.
And of course, what about the fallouts or knock-on effects for the regional and the global economy?
Well, as I suggest, the question about the global trading system is perhaps the #1 question around the globe. This is what major economies and major countries are worried about, because the United States feels very strongly that the global trading system is being exploited by a closed economy, China's economy, which has been able to exploit national champions, state-owned enterprises, and other Communist Party rules that the global trading system of the World Trade Organization did not intend to accommodate. It intended to deal with more market democracies like the Republic of Korea and Japan. Now, this additional spat between Korea and Japan could reverberate. And you hear Germany already very concerned about the global supply chains and high technology. So this could be something that is a contagion that further slows down global growth, that affects key economies, key sectors, and it exacerbates this fight over the global trading rule set.
I want to go back to the strategic interest or lack thereof because of this trade row. So South Korea, Japan, and the U.S. have a trilateral security alliance in this region, and it's a pressing security threat here on the Korean Peninsula and in the wider Asia, Northeast Asian region. Now, how does the escalating trade row dent, first of all, Japan's strategic interest?
Well, I think, again, it's hard to separate one country from the others. We are in security interdependence among the three countries. We talk about economic interdependence, but there's security interdependence between and among Korea, Japan, and the United States. How so? Well, in the handling of North Korea, we learned this in the 1990s when we first had to deal with North Korea's missile threat. Former Secretary of Defense Bill Perry had to step in and conduct a brand new trilateral discussion in the late 1990s to make sure that we were all realigned and unified in how to deal with North Korea. Today, we have multiple challenges. We have a rising China. We still have the North Korean negotiations and managing North Korea problem. And then we have to look at the wider Indo-Pacific and think about the rules that are going to be written probably by China if democracies like Korea and Japan, the United States, are not unified. So this has huge implications, not just for Japan, but frankly, for all three countries.
Absolutely. Do you think, therefore, the U.S. will rise to the occasion and try to find a way to nudge its two Asian allies toward a dispute resolution? I mean, how do you foresee the Seoul-Tokyo row settle, or can we not see the light at the end of the tunnel? Of course, Mark Esper is in Seoul. He was in Japan in the last few days. Do you see him playing kind of a mediator role?
Well, the United States, when it's asked to play a mediating role, or whether it's asked whether it should play a mediating role, we feel a little bit like the Asian countries when they're saying, hey, we don't want to make a choice between China and the United States. The United States also doesn't want to make a choice between our two foremost allies in Northeast Asia. Both are absolutely essential. That's why one's called the cornerstone, one's called the linchpin. I'm sure Secretary Esper is reinforcing those connections. The United States has great alliance relations right now with Seoul and Tokyo separately, but the weak link is the Seoul to Tokyo nexus. That needs to be strengthened. So we need to do more. We can do more. We can't solve everything, but we can certainly listen. And where things can be done, we can probably not only nudge, but maybe help find common ground. It's very important for us to do so. I have great confidence that Secretary Esper is going to add some very statesman-like words while he's in Seoul.
Absolutely. The importance of trilateral security alliance architecture in this region. Pat Cronin, Asia Pacific Chair at Washington-based Hudson Institute. Many thanks for your insights this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.